Canada's vast coastline has long been an abundant resource of fish. As the world market for aquaculture increases, Canada has turned to aquaculture to meet this growing demand. Campbell River, located on the eastern coast of Vancouver Island, British Columbia, is a center for Western Canadian aquaculture. Many companies base their head offices, hatcheries, grow-out sites, and even processing plants in the areas that surround Campbell River. Nutreco has played an integral part in supporting Canadian aquaculture by producing advanced feeds at Moore Clark and by farming quality salmon at Paradise Bay Sea Farms. Both Moore Clark and Paradise Bay Sea Farms are members of Nutreco Aquaculture, a group of international companies that pool its resources to develop the latest in feed and technology in order to keep customers profitable in this competitive industry. This graph illustrates dramatic improvements in fish growth achieved at the Nutreco Aquaculture Research Centre in Norway between 1989 and 1996. In an efficiently operated fish farm, feed should be the single largest operating cost. One of the most effective methods in reducing this cost of production is by practicing good feed management. This in turn increases the farmer's profitability. Feeding for profit. Optimum feeding will yield the greatest improvement of the biological feed conversion ratio, also referred to as FCR, toward the theoretically attainable FCR. Research has shown that the best growth results are achieved when fish are fed to satiation. This optimizes the efficient use of nutrients in pellets by fish. With every mouthful, the growth curve rises steadily. The more feed consumed by the fish, the faster it grows. Maximum growth can only be achieved at satiation. Lowering feed conversion rates is achieved by allowing the fish to eat all that it wants, since the energy in the first mouthfuls goes toward the upkeep of bodily functions or maintenance requirements, and the protein energy in the last mouthfuls goes towards growth. Growth is obviously the main objective of farming. A farmer must achieve maximum specific growth rate, also known as SGR, minimum FCR, and minimum cost of production. Consuming quality feeds and good health increases fish appetite, which leads to still better growth and FCR. Additionally, feeding to satiation reduces competition stress, physical damage, and consequently can reduce mortality. Feeding to satiation is critical in order to achieve the maximum SGR and fastest growth, achieve the minimum FCR, and reduce stress, competition, physical damage, and consequently, mortality. Therefore, in order to obtain the most efficient use of feed, the farmer must be able to detect when the livestock's appetite has been fully satisfied. Aquaculture is a young industry as compared to agriculture. Feed management practices in agriculture are sometimes hard to adapt for aquaculture due to certain limitations. One key limitation is due to the fact that traditional land-based farmers of products such as chickens and pigs have always been able to closely monitor livestock feeding behavior. For instance, this poultry farmer can easily detect any feed wastage and adjust his feed amounts accordingly. In the past, fish farmers relied on published feed tables as a general guide, but these tables do not allow for meal-to-meal variation or day-to-day variation. To limit over- and underfeeding, the farmer, exposed to the elements of nature, must try to observe the fish from the surface to determine daily rations. A variety of environmental factors, such as foul weather, waves, turbidity, and deep pens, make it difficult to fully determine the consumption of pellets once they have fallen from view. It is also well known that fish have a hierarchy, and differences in activity from near the surface to the bottom of the cage cannot be detected from the surface. Farmed fish from time to time will respond to the feeding routine without actually swallowing pellets. As seen here, pellets are wasted for various reasons. The farmer is then unable to monitor fish feeding all the way to the bottom of the cage. Together with an efficient centralized feed delivery system, Paradise Bay staff are able to closely monitor fish feeding behavior. Now, the fish culturist is out of the elements, eliminating the ambiguity and frustration of determining satiation in the wind, rain, cold, or turbid waters. Staff productivity increases and labor can be reduced. Comfortable and able to fully concentrate in the office, the farmer has complete control over the feeding process at his fingertips in response to real time and what he observes with his livestock.
By looking at the fish through the camera, you can see when they've eaten enough, they'll start to lower in the pen column towards the bottom of the pen, towards the camera, and that's showing that they're being satiated. And then soon after, you'll start seeing pellets drop. And at that point, you would go to another pen and then come back to these later and see if they're still satiated. Try feeding them again. But the difference between this camera and this system over hand feeding is that it's showing you that you didn't know how to feed properly before because you left it to guesswork. You were going on your own judgment, what you could see of the fish on the surface, or as far as you could see is probably 10 feet under the surface. And in times of rough weather or lots of sunshine or an algae bloom, you were stopping feeding and probably not feeding the fish enough, or in other cases you were wasting feed. This camera system and the new automatic feeding is stopping that. You're getting a healthier spread, better feed amounts fed at a certain time, and you're going by the reaction of the fish visually totally through the water column. There's no mistakes.
With the aid of the camera, the farmer is able to observe satiation, fish behavior, for example, hierarchy of fish and routine activity, fish health, for monitoring sea lice, spatial distribution of feed, preventing uneven spread and tidal current, and predation.
And these are the cages that are in
His computer
operation
communicates
right now.
with the feed system.
Put in line at any time.
This enables him to regulate feeding activity and to record the amount of feed delivered to each pen throughout the day.
Since we started using the cameras, we're very confident that we can feed the fish to satiation without overfeeding. And by doing this, we're able to maximize growth and decrease our feed conversions. Our feed conversions, compared with this time last year, we're showing a 10 to 15% decrease, and much of that I attribute to the use of the cameras. By being able to watch our stocks now, we've bridged the gap between aquatic and land-based farmers.